800 years. That's how long the world has been searching. Kings sent armies, archaeologists spent lifetimes. Satellites have scanned the Earth from orbit, and still nothing. The tomb of the most powerful conqueror in human history has never been found. Not one stone, not one bone, not a single artifact. Genghis Khan built an empire that stretched from the Pacific Ocean to the gates of Europe. He killed an estimated 40 million people. He reshaped the DNA of half the planet. And then, he vanished. No grave, no monument, no final resting place. Just silence. Today, we go looking for answers. To understand the mystery, you first need to understand the man. Genghis Khan was not born powerful. He was born Temujin, a name that means blacksmith, on the frozen steppes of Mongolia around 1162. His father was poisoned when Temujin was 9 years old. His clan abandoned him and his family to die in the wilderness. He survived. He clawed his way back. And over the next 4 decades, Temujin did something no one in history had ever done. He united the warring Mongol tribes through blood, through marriage, through sheer brutal force. In 1206, the tribal leaders gathered on the banks of the Onon River. They proclaimed him Genghis Khan, the universal ruler. What followed was the largest land empire the world has ever seen. China fell, Central Asia fell, Persia fell, Russia fell. The kingdoms of Eastern Europe trembled. The Mongol army was a machine unlike anything the medieval world had encountered. Fast, disciplined, ruthless, and brilliant. Genghis Khan did not just win wars. He reorganized civilizations. He built the Silk Road trade network. He introduced religious tolerance across his empire. He created one of the first international postal systems. He was not just a destroyer, he was a builder of a new world order. And then, in the summer of 1227, he died, and the mystery began. Genghis Khan was in his mid-60s when he died. Old by the standards of a man who had spent his entire life on horseback in war. He was in northwestern China on a campaign against the Tangut kingdom of Western Xia, a people who had defied him once before and paid a terrible price. The exact cause of his death is unknown. This is not an exaggeration. The historical record is genuinely blank. The most commonly accepted theory is that he fell from his horse. The fall caused internal injuries. He died days or weeks later, still on campaign. But other accounts tell different stories. Some medieval sources say he was struck by an arrow during battle. Others claim he was killed by lightning. One dramatic legend says a Tangut princess, a woman taken as a trophy of conquest, hid a weapon inside her body and attacked him on their wedding night. Modern medical researchers have proposed he died of plague, or typhoid fever, or kidney disease. In 2018, a team of scientists even suggested that a simple infected wound, combined with his age and years of physical punishment, could have killed him within days. We do not know. We may never know. Because everything that happened after his death was designed deliberately to make sure we wouldn't. Before Genghis Khan died, he gave specific instructions. His body was to be returned to Mongolia. It was to be buried in secret. No tomb was to be built. No marker was to be placed. The location was to be concealed forever. Why? The reasons are debated, but historians point to several possibilities. First, Mongol spiritual belief. The Mongols believed that disturbing a burial site could release the spirit of the dead, and not in a good way. The soul needed to rest undisturbed. Second, security. A known grave would become a target. Enemies who wanted symbolic revenge could desecrate it. That was unacceptable for the man who had conquered half the world. Third, Genghis Khan himself may have wanted to become a legend rather than a relic. A physical tomb could be destroyed. A man without a grave, that man becomes a myth, eternal. His sons carried out the order. The body was transported across the Gobi Desert, across the Mongolian steppe, back to the homeland. And then, according to the accounts, the concealment began.
What happened next reads like something from an ancient thriller.
1,000 soldiers formed the funeral escort. They carried the body hundreds of miles across the most brutal terrain on Earth. When they arrived at the burial site, they dug deep. The body was placed inside. The grave was sealed. Then, according to some accounts, a herd of horses was driven back and forth over the site. Thousands of hooves obliterating any trace that the earth had been disturbed. Trees were planted. The landscape was allowed to grow back naturally. The soldiers who dug the grave were executed. Every last one of them. Then the soldiers who had killed those men were also executed. By the time it was done, the only people who knew the exact location were the highest commanders of the Mongol Empire, men bound by blood oath to take the secret to their own graves. Some historians believe the burial site was near a mountain called Burkhan Khaldun, a sacred peak in northeastern Mongolia that Genghis Khan had always held as holy. He reportedly prayed there as a young man when his enemies were closing in. He told his followers, "This mountain saved my life. Bury me here." But even this is uncertain. The mountain was sacred. Access was restricted. For centuries, the area was closed to outsiders by the Mongolian government itself. The secret was protected not just by death, but by law.
The search has never stopped. In the decades after his death, Mongol princes tried to find the grave, to reconnect with their ancestors' power. They failed. Marco Polo, who traveled through the Mongol Empire in the 13th century, wrote about the funeral traditions, but admitted he did not know the location. For centuries, the mystery lay dormant. Mongolia was closed. The steppes were inaccessible. Then came the modern age. In the 1990s, after the Soviet Union collapsed and Mongolia opened up, archaeologists flooded in. In 2001, a team from Japan and Mongolia launched one of the most ambitious searches in history. They used satellite imagery, ground-penetrating radar, and aerial surveys across thousands of square kilometers. They found medieval sites, ancient ruins, archaeological wonders. They did not find the tomb. In 2004, a joint Mongolian-American project called the Valley of the Khans used non-invasive technology to scan entire river valleys from the air. Again, nothing. In 2012, a crowdsourced project asked internet users around the world to analyze satellite images of Mongolia, pixel by pixel, looking for anomalies. Again, nothing conclusive. Every lead dissolved. Every promising site turned out to be something else. Here's where the story gets darker. Some who searched for the tomb did not just fail, they suffered. In 1993, a team of Japanese archaeologists found what they believed was a major Mongol-era complex near the Onon River. They were weeks into their excavation when local Mongolian communities, furious that outsiders were disturbing sacred ground, forced them to stop. The Mongolian government backed the locals. The excavation was shut down. The team left empty-handed. There are stories, not verified but persistent, of researchers who died in accidents during expeditions, of teams that found signs of a great burial and then lost their funding, of discoveries that were quietly suppressed.
The legend of the cursed tomb has taken on a life of its own. But here is the rational explanation. Mongolia does not want the tomb found. Not all of it. Not its government. Not its people. Genghis Khan is not just a historical figure to the Mongolians. He is a god. He is the father of the nation. His image is on their currency. His name is on their airport. Their most sacred vodka carries his brand. The idea of foreign archaeologists digging him up, exposing his bones to cameras, to laboratories, to tourists, is, to many Mongolians, something close to sacrilege. The tomb may not be hidden only by history. It may be hidden by choice.
So where is it?
Theory 1. Burkhan Khaldun Mountain. This is the most historically supported theory. Multiple sources from within the Mongol Empire confirm that the Khan held this mountain as sacred. The area, now part of the Khan Khenti strictly protected area, has been largely off-limits to excavation. If the tomb exists anywhere, many experts believe it is here, beneath a river, beside a slope, under 8 centuries of forest growth. Theory 2. Beneath the Kerlin River. Some accounts suggest the burial party diverted a river to bury the Khan in the dry riverbed, then released the water back over the grave. This was a technique used for other great rulers of antiquity. If true, the tomb may now sit permanently underwater, protected not by soldiers, but by the earth itself. Theory 3. The tomb doesn't exist, not in the traditional sense. Some historians believe Genghis Khan was not buried in a single location at all. His body may have been cremated, or scattered, or buried in multiple locations to prevent any single site from becoming a target. Theory 4. It was already found and kept secret. This is the theory that refuses to die. Several researchers have claimed over the years to have found the location and been pressured into silence. No credible evidence has ever been produced, but given what is at stake, politically, spiritually, archaeologically, you cannot entirely dismiss it.
If the tomb is ever discovered, the implications would be enormous. For archaeology, it would be one of the greatest finds since Tutankhamun's tomb. The burial would likely include weapons, armor, gold, horses, the full equipment of a Mongol warrior king. For DNA science, his remains would allow us to finally confirm or deny the extraordinary claim that approximately 16 million men alive today, roughly 0.5% of the world's male population, are directly descended from Genghis Khan. For Mongolia, it would reshape national identity and create an impossible dilemma. Do you excavate your greatest ancestor, or do you leave him in peace? For history, it would close a mystery 8 centuries in the making. But here is the truth. The technology to find it exists. Satellite mapping, ground-penetrating radar, LiDAR scanning. We have the tools. What we do not have, what we may never have, is permission. There is something almost poetic about this. Genghis Khan conquered everything. He broke through every wall. He crossed every desert and every mountain range. He brought down the greatest empires of his age. The only thing he could not conquer was time. And so, he made a deal with it. He told his people, "Erase me. Let the grass grow over me. Let the rivers flow over me. Let the wolves forget I was there." And for 800 years, it worked. The most powerful man who ever lived is also the most hidden. His empire is dust. His soldiers are bones. The cities he burned have been rebuilt and burned again a dozen times over. But Genghis Khan himself, the body, the bones, the last physical trace of the man who shook the world, remains exactly where he wanted to be, unknown,
undisturbed, unreachable. Maybe that is the point. Maybe the greatest conqueror in history chose his final victory carefully. Not a battle, not a kingdom, just silence. That is the mystery of Genghis Khan's tomb. 800 years old, still unsolved, still protected. If you found this story as gripping as I did, hit that like button. It takes 1 second, and it means the world to this channel. Subscribe to War and Military History for more stories like this, the battles, the secrets, and the mysteries that history tried to bury. And share this video, because some stories deserve to be heard. I will see you in the next one.